I've been asked to talk briefly about protecting your IP, and it's possible that you can protect your IP. You can start off with having all this legal mumbo-jumbo in the contract. Great, that's a starting point. But to be practical, the best way to protect your IP is physical protection. And who can we learn from in terms of physical protection? We can learn from startups that are developing their own prototypes, that are developing new products for the first time, and they don't want any competing products for the first 6 months, 12 months of their product launch. And that's all you're going to get. When you're protecting your IP, you're just looking for 6 months or 12 months protection, because the product life cycle keeps on going and going and going. And so there's a whole range of startups. I don't have time to talk about all of them. I want to show you some examples of some of these startups, how they protect their IP. I don't have video directly, but if we look at this skin detector device, Diffoderm, this is from the startup Launchpad, they actually went and manufactured it in Thailand to protect their IP. Okay, Gochi Tech, very famous now because now their technology is accepted in the new iPhone 8 and the iPhone 10 coming, the iPhone X. And so this was on the startup Launchpad. How do they protect their IP? Because Matthew Chow, the owner, actually owns a factory in Dongguan, and he uses it as a black box factory, and all the components are sent to his factory and he puts it together there. And so the component manufacturers do not know what the final product looks like. Physical protection. Physical protection. Okay, and then Grom, they do digital 3D printed foot shape that go in your feet that podiatrists around the world would love to have for their clients. And so you get a digital imprint of a client, send it to Grom, they do the 3D printing in China and then send it back overseas, back to the podiatrist. That's easy to protect that IP because no one foot is the same around the world. So that's how Grom does it. So iDummy, how do they do it? They make an electronic mannequin that will expand and contract depending on the coordinates you type into a computer. It's connected to the computer. And so how do they protect their IP? They did equity joint venture with a major company in China. So through the equity joint venture, they were able to protect their IP. Okay, what's another way to physically protect your IP? AmbiClimate. This is a Hong Kong startup. They first off started with prototyping in-house in Hong Kong to keep it out of the eyes of factories in China. But when they decided that they had their final prototype ready, they just did a 500 units in a factory using cheaper tooling. So if the supplier wanted to keep running that tooling overnight, unknown to AmbiClimate, they could only make maybe another 500 or 1,000, not 10,000 or 20,000. Okay, soft tooling is one way to protect your IP. And then once they were sure that they can find the right factory, then they moved to a bigger factory, and then now they can get tooling that can run 20,000, 50,000. And so they didn't do that in the first way, step by step by step. Physical protection is the way to protect your IP. Rotarex, they make drones, and their big IP was in the propellers. So the propeller manufacturer started making propellers out the back door, and so how Rotarex found out was their community found out and actually told Rotarex. So Rotarex went back to the factory and say, hey, what are you doing? We're going to shame you in the community and tell everyone, all the other buyers in the community of the propellers for the drones, don't buy from you, propeller manufacturer. The manufacturer said, oh, no, we'll stop doing that, okay? Please don't shame us in the community. Wow. Does community shaming work in China? Yes, in some industries. Okay, so there are some examples of physical protection of IP.